Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2015. Lots of news and stuff to go over quickly in the daily download, and we're also going to be joined then by a very special guest, Daniel Teague, who I had the pleasure and honor of meeting a few weeks ago and got to experience his amazing abilities, which we're going to get into later on in the show. Had a chakra balancing done, which I'll share my experience. But first, I want to say check out StarseedRadio.com for the latest news and updates. We're always posting up new articles. We want you to keep informed, stay informed. Our Twitter feed, my Facebook Twitter feed, YouTube's up there, as well as Ryan from BellwetherPost.com, who will be joining us for the daily download in a second. And also, you can contact StarseedTechnologies.com. We have lots of information I would love to send you out there on free energy. What is it? How to make devices. I have about 15 PDF files. I've had about 70, 80 people contact me over the last few weeks. So please keep contacting us, fill out that form, send us your email, and let us get this information out to you. Or you can call toll free 888-400-2328 and also get your free piece of Elite Shungite. This is an amazing quantum healing stone. We're giving out free samples for the last few months now because I want people to have it. So again, toll free 888-400-2328. You can call anytime, 24/7. Leave us a voicemail if no one picks up, and someone will get back to you right away. And with that, we're going to jump into the daily download with our main man, Ryan Matthew Durnick. Good morning, Ryan. How are you today? Ryan, you there? Mr. Ryan Durnick. Let's hear him. Ryan, can you hear me? You might have your mic. Maybe your mic is on mute. Let's see. Ryan, can you hear us? Test. All right. There we go. All right. The mic was on mute. So go ahead and let's start with the daily download, please. What is happening on Mother Earth aboard Spaceship Earth today?
Well, in regards to solar news, that solar activity is actually increasing. We have a 40% chance of possible geomagnetic storms, and as we've said in the previous broadcast yesterday, that's an ongoing issue. The last 2 weeks previous were very quiet. In other news, there has been indications that the El Nino that is going on is actually going to is going to be strengthening into this upcoming fall and winter, and that could spell a lot of extreme weather conditions that we're already seeing throughout the United States to get a little worse. And if everyone remembers, maybe some people don't, we had a really bad El Nino in '93 that caused a lot of power outages throughout the southeast, and along the northeast we had a lot of snows and Superstorm 93. And what was on with the El Nino? The Atlantic, but increased the hurricane over the West Pacific, and aside from that, it also hurts the fishing industries in Peru. There was a small earthquake in Arizona yesterday afternoon of 3.
Ryan, your mic's cutting out pretty bad. We have a bad connection. Ryan, maybe we should try you back on your cell phone because your Skype connection is cutting out and people can't really hear what you're saying. You're choppy. So let's try calling you back on your cell phone. And while we do that, and we're going to call Ryan right back on his cell phone, while we do that, there's also another article that came out. This article I find pretty interesting. This one is the motherlode of UFO files has hit the internet. And this is just an amazing story because recently uploaded was 130,000 pages of UFO files top secret UFO files called Project Blue Book, which was just uploaded to the internet. So for all the naysayers about UFO contact and things like that, there's 130,000 pages of Project Blue Book now available on the internet. So that's a massive story. I'll post that up as well. All right, Ryan, you're much clearer coming in now. So go ahead. What else is happening?
In regards to other Earth changes, there was a 4.7 earthquake within the last day. Today being August 5th, a 4.7 magnitude in Atka, Alaska, a 4.7 southeast of Lada in the Solomon Islands, a 5.0 magnitude earthquake 44 kilometers east of Naimi, Japan, a 4.9, 86 kilometers south-southwest of Oahu, Tonga, a 5.7, 16 kilometers east-northeast of Tonala, Mexico, and a 4.6, 90 kilometers north of Brenes, Puerto Rico. And those were the most noteworthy earthquakes in the last 24 hours.
And we've seen an uprise of this as well, Ryan, haven't we? We've seen an uprise of volcanic activity, earthquakes over the last few months. And this is stuff to pay attention to, which is why we go over Earth changes so much, is because you need to pay attention to how the Earth is responding to certain weather patterns. There's certain electromagnetic storms from solar flares from the sun. So it's very important to pay attention to this stuff. Go ahead, Ryan.
And in other news, a Colima volcano has erupted again spectacularly yesterday. It ejected ash 2 miles into the air, Jonah, which was pretty spectacular. And that's been erupting very frequently over the last year, especially. And it's just showing again, is what you said previously, that things geologically, geophysically are increasing, whether it be from cosmic energy or the solar activity. Things are on the uptick in regards to that. On to other news, FBI is looking into the security of the emails, because this has been an ongoing issue for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, don't tell me Hillary up. I knew you were going to say it. Yeah, Miss Miss Hillary Clinton is also the one who's on national TV talking about vaccines are good for you and this and that. But please continue, Ryan. Please continue with the...
Yeah. The vaccines are great. They have mercury in them. They're good for you. And she's also a huge proponent of Planned Parenthood, even though now the 5th video has come out with Planned Parenthood actually showing how they can sell baby fetuses. And the director of the Gulf.
This is a big article, too. I've been reading a lot about this, and I hate even talking about a sick subject like this, but people and organizations are harvesting abortion organs and stuff like that from fetuses. It's called the dark science, and there's lots of articles up. People like Alex Jones and other people have been talking about this for years, being called nuts. But as you just said, there's videos, there's proof coming out now, and this stuff is kind of crazy.
It is absolutely insane, and she's actually saying it's okay. And to put into perspective, since abortion's been going on, and I respect pro-life, I respect pro-choice, but let's put it in a matter of perspective here. There's been 1 billion abortions since abortion's been legalized.
3,500 a day.
Exactly. Do the numbers, and a lot of minorities predominantly are having abortions more so than other ethnicities and culture. So you gotta keep this in mind when you're thinking about this. And people, 2016 GOP candidates, I know that he's been in the news for saying, well, the border security is not tight. Donald Trump, I'm not proponent for him, but he did say some stuff that is true. He says that they should defund Planned Parenthood and restructure the government based upon misuse of funds to actually go about preying on women's fetuses to resell them for profit, which is insane, Jonah.
Yeah, and the fact, like you said, Hillary she's not releasing any of her emails. She's not complying with anything by the law. She's been called on many different things, called out on like the emails, this and that. And of course, the rich elite, what happens to them? Nothing. It's just the story blows over.
Nothing.
But I also wanted to mention, I'm sure you've heard about Venezuela tanking right now. Venezuela continues to print worthless paper. The currency is crapping out totally. And it will happen here. It's a fiat currency, the dollar, just so people know, FYI. And also, Venezuela also just nationalized their food distribution. The president, Nicolas Maduro, pledged recently to nationalize food distribution, and while the record shortages of more basic foods are happening right now. And this is going to skyrocketing inflation and deepening the financial crisis. I mean, it's just crazy what's happening. It's like the elite know, when they're down, kick them in the face, kick some dirt on them. What else is happening?
Exactly. Unfortunately, there was a migrant boat that capsized in the Mediterranean Sea. Many feared dead. A boat packed with up to 700 African migrants capsized in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Libya. This has been an ongoing issue with mass immigration from war-torn countries of Libya and surrounding countries in Africa that are coming across the Mediterranean to try to find a better way of life, because that's what you do when you're immigrating somewhere and going into European countries. But the European countries can't handle the saturation. They're at a saturation point right now in France, in Italy, and Spain, and they're dealing with their own issues with the EU fledgling. And a lot of people are thinking, you know what, maybe we'll jump ship with the EU. Maybe that's not a bad idea.
And just to dovetail so people know, there's the World Service Organization. Write that down, Google it. I just spoke to the president, David Gallup, a few weeks ago. We're going to have him on the show. We got to get him on. And anyone around the world can apply right now for a global citizen passport. It was passed in the 50s by the UN Council. This is how Snowden got into Russia. They've issued over 2 million. So anyone right now can go online, fill out the paperwork. You pay like $100-something, and you can get a global citizen passport, ID, birth certificate. And this is how many refugees, hundreds of thousands of them, have gotten out of refugee camps or into other countries by applying for this global citizen passport. So just pay attention to that. There are things out there, but they don't want people to know about it.
Yes, definitely. And then in other news, the Malaysian flight, they're now inspecting a new part, a wing flap, and potentially the inspectors said that they might be able to really know whether or not this is part of a Malaysian flight. But as you know, again, there was another piece that they found, and they said, oh, this is not even part of a plane, it's a ladder.
Yeah.
It's just regular old ladder that floated out. And the weird thing is that this plane just disappeared. And by now, you should have had wreckage going on washing ashore on the eastern side of the Australian.
And you should have had wreckage at the Pentagon when they said a plane flew into it, but they didn't find a piece of plane in the Pentagon on 9/11 either. But hey, let's not pry too deep into the story. I also want to mention real quickly that 64 nations have now said no to GMO. Yet our U.S. government basically is making it totally illegal to even label things that it's non-GMO or GMO. You know about that. You talked about that. Italy recently is just now they are emit to solar from new renewable incentive plans. Basically, they're putting solar panels on top of their trains. They're doing a lot to really push forward on the solar and new energy stuff. So that's really good to hear in the news as well. And another article I wanted to mention, from naturalnews.com, great site, shout out to Health Ranger, is healing through music, not drugs, brainwave music therapy miraculously reduces night terrors and bad behavior in children. And I've always thought that's why I love music. It's my passion. So before you go, Ryan, on the Daily Download, we want to bring up the drum roll, please, of our Game of Thrones person of the day. I'm going to vote for the Queen Bitch, Hillary Clinton. You knew it. You already knew it. Yeah, Miss Hillary Clinton. Exactly. Miss Hillary Clinton, the Queen Biatch. She is the one that is on national TV talking about how vaccines are good for you. You should be ashamed as a parent if you don't vaccinate your children. Even though the head scientist for those studies that got those vaccines, the guy's on the run. I mean, she's on Planned Parenthood. You know this. So a shout out.
Exactly. And one more thing before you go. People think that we have a choice in voting. But it's not the votes that we put into the ballot box. It's the votes that are counted at the end of the day. And unfortunately, we're going to have only a choice between Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton. So all these other candidates,
that's right,
they're not going to even count.
That's why we're starting the collective presidency, which I've been working on the last few months, and people know what I'm talking about. We'll be announcing that soon. The collective presidency. It's the people presidency. So Ryan, again, thank you, Ryan Matthew Durnick from BellwetherPost.com. Check out Ryan's feed on StarseedRadio.com. That is our daily download. And now we're going to jump into our special guest of the show. As I mentioned earlier, we have Daniel Teague. He's from Vega Star Healings. Daniel developed an above normal ability and over time learned he could communicate with spirits and beings and has a fascinating story. And with that, I'll let him tell you the rest. But Daniel, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Starseed Radio. How are you today?
Hey, Jonah. How are you?
Doing good. So usually when I have people on, Daniel, and I've spoken to you, and we've been speaking the last few weeks, and I got the pleasure and honor of receiving some of your healing, which we'll get into really maybe on the second part of the segment. But if you would, please just give people a brief background on how you first came to develop these abilities, a brief story, if you would, please.
Sure. This goes back to the 90s, the early 90s. I was about 18 in high school. I had a really severe car accident, and this would later be known as a near-death experience. My physical body didn't perish, but the soul within did, in a way. Basically, I don't have any memory of this car accident. This is the interesting parts. And approximately a week after the accident happened, I woke up in a hospital, and I really wasn't upset by it. I didn't really understand why I was there, but I didn't have a whole lot of questions of what happened to me. And what people do not know about me is I was a pretty shy kid growing up, and it's not that I didn't have friends, but I was unable to generate new conversations with strangers or some of my friends. I would just kind of hang out and, as you do in a circle of friends, and go with the flow. So, post-accident, I wake up in a hospital. I am talking my brain out. I mean, I am talking like crazy to people, and I like it. It's awesome. And so I went through a personality switch, as if literally a light switch had been flipped. I get out of the hospital. I go through about a year of recovery, and life goes on for me. And honestly, not much happened for the first 15 years after this. I just went on and tried to live a normal life, other than broken bones and going through all the rehabilitation. Fast forward to approximately 2007. Some things had happened prior to 2007 that weren't really, there wasn't a whole lot of gravity to, so I kind of just dismissed it. And but 2007 comes. What I should say to people is I'm originally from the Northeast, and I relocated in 2007 to Arizona. Something is in the rocks here. That's all I know, and I that's what I've been telling people. So when I came to Arizona in 2007, I had a wake up, you could say, and I had some ghost experiences. I don't want to get into everything because we're short on time, but let's just say I had some unsettling. The air attacked me, and I couldn't figure it out. I ended up joining a ghost hunting investigation organization. I spent about 9 months doing investigations. I did see an apparition, but it wasn't enough for me. Approximately 9 months after I joined that organization, I joined a psychic development group, and I was kind of drawn to it. And I went through, I don't know, it was about a couple of years worth of development. At the same time, I was not so much mediumship training, but the psychic and the medium kind of they handhold, and kind of runs a close parallel. Started to develop symbols. You need to learn how to set your intention about things, and things kind of follow suit. Going forward from there, started to get into dream state experimentation. I mean, when you set your intention before dreams, things happen. It's very interesting. Also, in the psychic development group, I obviously met other psychics. I met hypnotherapists. I actually told them my story, which I've already just told you about the personality switch, and they identified me as a soul walk-in. What's a soul walk-in? Basically what it sounds like. It's unknown. It's kind of like during the accident or just before the accident happened, my soul split, and another soul walked in, hence the sense of walk-in. And, when it happens, I have no memory of this, and this might explain why there's no memory. What does this mean for me? Not a whole lot. I mean, how it's been explained to me is my new soul adopted the old soul's memories. So when I woke up in the hospital, I was able to identify friends and family. And to them, there was no switcheroo. To me, it's a slightly different story. Many years later, though, going forward from there, I got into meditation work. And I learned I actually trained myself how to get into deep meditation. From deep meditation, I asked questions, as they tell you to do. I asked, where is my soul from? And I got I was expecting Earth, and I got something else. And it wasn't that they said the word Lyra. I got an L name, and I was expecting an E name, or an E letter, to represent a name of where I'm from. And I got an L, and I had to tone out, and it's not that hard to do. You literally just tone with your voice, and I work with a pendulum, and I was able to get the correct symbols going for what all the letters of the planet were, and it spelled out Lyra. So that's where I get Lyra from. and everything has kind of resonated with me ever since then. Going forward from there, I had a crazy dream in 2010 that I was standing with another person, but not too close to that person, and I was making a gesture with my right hand, and through the use of thought or intention, healing somebody. So this is where the healing starts. And I didn't know what to do with that dream, but I woke up with a full recall, and I, at the time, contacted a friend who was a Reiki master, and she ran these things called Reiki shares, where you just kind of go and practice. And I told her about my dream. She told me to come on down. We went down. The guy on the massage table told me, well, just do what you saw in the dream. So I did, and he immediately said that he sensed that there was energy moving. What is energy? Energy is movement. That's what it means, to me at least. And the Reiki master that was there told me to focus and work on this because you have something and it's going to get popular. I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but that's exactly what I've been doing since 2010, focusing and working on this energy ability that I have. Where does the energy come from? In my belief, it comes from the galactic. What does energy feel like? It's a sensation. So I don't see anything with my third eye, you could say, but I touch it with my hand. It's strange. And the energy is always available on demand. And I can't tell somebody how to do it for them. I just know how to do it for myself. And using intention, I learned how to heal pain on another person. But here's a catch. When I was in the Reiki share, they want you to put hands on direct contact to another person. When I did this in the Reiki share, I got a disgusting feeling. It wasn't for me. And what I actually just recalled, what I forgot to mention earlier, is prior to 2007, I had realized when I had met a new person over the phone or was about to meet somebody in person but hadn't quite gotten it face to face, I was able to sense them from a distance. So I was able to sense their emotion, their attitude, their demeanor, all that sort of stuff. So jumping back to Reiki shares, I was actually picking up on their ugly sensations if I put hands on. But when I did the same thing, hands off, all the correct process and steps, there was no negative feelings at all.
I just
And
wanted
I was able
to say something, Daniel. That's amazing because I awakened around 2010 too. And when I went to a Reiki share when I moved to Asheville, there was about 10 of us and people were putting their hands on people. And when it came my turn to lay in the middle, I said no. I immediately got my gut feeling was that's not, you don't need to touch anybody to move energy. So it's this is new part of your story for me, but I felt the same way, this feeling that's not right. You shouldn't be having your hands all over people's heads and this, you don't need that to move energy. But please continue.
Exactly. So going forward, I learned how to intention. You have energy running. Intention is like the channel changer. So when you change the intention, you get something different. So I started out doing healing for pain relief on people. I practice on friends. I practice on strangers. I practice because I want to know the truth. For any new healers out there, not professionally trained, if you think you're a potential healer, try it on a stranger. They will give you the most honest answer. If you think you're good, try it on strangers. Do not go to friends and do not go to family. Subconscious is weird. They won't tell you the truth. It's how it is. But if you know you're good, practice, practice, practice. And over time, I learned I didn't quite have to focus just on pain relief. I learned about the chakra system. And what's a chakra? We all kind of think we know, but I'm just going to reiterate for people that do not know. So what's a chakra? It's an energetic wheel inside the aura. There are 7 in our third dimension bodies. They're not really in the body. They kind of hover inside the aura. What's an aura? The aura is the power field that runs around and through the anatomy. And there are 7 chakras. So at the top going down, we have the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plex, the sacral, and the root. They kind of line up in the same direction as the spine. The chakras they kind of regulate energy through the body. Essentially, the chakras there are 3 symbols that I get when I do a chakra scan on someone. I get spinning strong, spinning weak, or not spinning. Chakras tend to close down or stop spinning or slow down because of negativity. Whether you see it, hear it, somehow you're involved in it, and you know if it scares you or affects you or really bothers you. Well, that actually does more than that. It closes or slows down these chakras and makes them calcify, energetically calcify. What I also want to say is there's a color system that goes with the chakras. Some people resonate with it, some people do not. The reality is this color system has actually been preconditioning you since birth, and people are just unaware of this. If you've ever heard the term Roy G. Biv, it's a color wheel. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. If you were to spell this out, turn it vertical, and put the R at the base and the V as in violet at the top, you've just lined up all the chakras perfectly. Rainbows, same thing. We've been around rainbows forever. I'm talking the rainbow, that you see after a rainstorm. It's the same colors as the chakra system. Excuse me.
And I just wanted to say, Daniel, we're going to have a break coming up here in like about 30 seconds. So when I get back from break, I want to go over my personal experience with you with the chakra balancing. And then I also know that you also talk like a medium to other beings, and then you also have a message you like to share, and that's also important too. So hang on right there. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, I'm going to share my experience with you and also your important message that you have to share as well. It's been quite a journey so far. I say Star Brother too because on my journey, I have realized that my soul has originated from the star of Arcturus, and it just feels so good to really know where you're really from, because we're not here from Earth. We'll be right back. You're listening to Starseed Radio. We're joined by Daniel Teague on Starseed Radio.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
Jedi Master? Yoda. You seek Yoda.
Yoda.
Clear your mind of questions. You must unlearn what you have learned. Jedi's name flows from the Force. That is the way of things. For my ally is Force, and the powerful planet is. Its energy surrounds, binds us.
All right. Luminous beings we are, as says Yoda, and the power of the light surrounds us, and energy moves through us from the great Yoda Master himself. You must unlearn what you have learned. Yoda could not have said it better himself. A shout out to Star Wars. You're listening to Starseed Radio. We're joined by a very special guest, Daniel Teague, a remote energy healer, a chakra balancer, which I experienced myself, which I'll get into in just a minute. But first, always, I want to bring up an important event that's happening, the Physics of the Universe online conference. It's happening Saturday, August 29th, 2015. And if you go to starseedradio.com, just click on the logo right there to learn more about it. There's some awesome guests. And this is really where you're going to hear so much information. They have 5 different speakers. Alfred Weber, who's also coming on Starseed Radio very soon. He's coming on Friday, I believe. But these type of online courses is really where you get to the nuts and bolts. So check out Physics of the Universe. And this is the Portal to Ascension presents Physics of the Universe online webinar. So check it out at starseedradio.com. And also, if you haven't received your free piece of Elite Shungite, you can call toll-free 888-400-2328. And also, if you want some information on free energy devices and free energy, fill out the form at starseedtechnologies.com. So we're joined by Daniel Teague. And Daniel, before we went to commercial break, I want to share my experience with you and also the listeners. So what I experienced, and just to put things in perspective, I'm down here broadcasting now from Costa Rica. And Daniel, where are you?
Well, I'm in Arizona in the United States.
Okay, so 2 different countries across the world, and this is what Daniel is talking about. Energy is everywhere. It's the quantum field. We're all connected. So what I noticed, Daniel, at first, after we spoke, when you sent me the report, the 24 hours is very interesting. At first, I felt that night a little bit like edgy, a little bit sort of like things were being worked out. I noticed that the next day, I felt very, very grounded, very back on my path, I could say, because the last few months I've had a lot of different events, traveled across country, I've picked up a lot of different energies. And what you noticed was that my root chakra had shut down. And I've had several people in the last few months tell me that as well, other healers that I've come across and guests on the show. So immediately when you said that, when you scanned me, first you scanned me remotely, and when you said red is not spitting, I knew right away that you were the real deal, like the other people I've talked to, because it's not by chance 10 people all tell me, this is not working. So the experience was the next day I really felt a balance again. And to be honest, I've been doing my yoga every day again. I'm back jogging with my dog. I'm back full on energy, all day long. I've been getting less sleep. I've been sleeping 6 to 7 hours, and I've been feeling fine. Usually the last month or two, I've been sleeping 7 to 10 hours. And so the energy has been balanced that I feel. Now, I'm sure over time it may close again as people like myself are sort of unaware of everything and you can't keep a track of all your energy, but that was my experience. I did notice a shift of my energy. I did notice the next day I was balanced, and you're almost halfway across the world. So that was my personal experience, and it was amazing. So first, thank you for your service, and thank you for your chakra balancing on me. And also, you sent a detailed report that showed what was blocked and what was unblocked, and that was just amazing. So I want to share that story with you. And if you could tell also the listeners a little bit more about the chakra balancing, so they know maybe what to expect as well. Do people get sick, Daniel? Do people throw up because some energies get moved? Some people may cry. What's been some of your other feedback and response?
Hey, so it's good to hear your feedback too. Essentially, when a person goes through a chakra balance, they may or may not know it's happening. It depends what's going on with you. First off, if you're in pain, I've done shows with this, live shows, and people will call in with their being in pain, and once I do my thing, they'll come back with the live raw feedback that it's working. Your pain will fade away almost immediately. And we're talking it's spot on, like immediate. And we're talking pain like acute pain. I'm not talking about emotional blocks from 40 years ago. We're talking acute stuff. My shoulder's been hurting for the last year. I don't know why. My ankle hurts. I fell down the other day. I'm in pain. I can help you with this sort of thing. And it's not that I'm going to focus just on your ankle pain. We're going to do the whole body. It's all or nothing. I don't focus on one thing. I started out originally a long time ago focusing on one chakra at a time, but then I realized if I do that, I screw up the rest of them. Then they'll all be off. So we have to clear, align, and balance all 7 at the same time. And I'm all about speed. Energy is different. Energy is very, very fast. And it just works almost immediately, for me at least. I'm not going to say for everybody, all healers out there. I don't know. Everybody develops their own thing at their own pace. If you're in pain, the first initial thing you'll notice is something is missing. When I do a balance on somebody, you're not really supposed to look for you're not really looking for a new sensation, but it's more of what is missing. Holy cow, I'm not in any pain now. This can last weeks too. I mean, the chakra balancing, once these chakras get turned back on, and even, I'll be honest, even if they are actually all spinning, if you have a chakra balance done, it amplifies everything. So it can assist in that direction as well. So the pain would be number one, but it also works emotional and mental status. So if you are not feeling yourself, you will have changes like Jonah talked about. And does it hurt? No. It's only beneficial. There's no downside to chakras at all. So going forward from there, I just want to say as well, not just with people, but I work on animals too. Dogs, cats, and horses. I can work same exact stuff. The chakras are in that dogs, cats, and animals, your pets. What I do want to say is the dogs, cats, and horses actually have an 8th chakra compared to us humans, which only have 7. The 8th chakra is called the brachial chakra, and that is the area where the link is between human and pet, essentially, human and animals. So when you say dog is man's best friend, so to speak, that has to do with the brachial chakra. If that animal comes out of an abusive situation and it's rescued, and let's say you can't connect to that dog, or the dogs you've had in your past, you connect immediately to. There's love, there's emotion, you hug, there's kissing, all that. If you can't connect, guess what? That chakra is not spinning. I can scan the dog with using his name. I don't need a photograph. I don't need... that's the other thing. I don't do any voice contact when I do my healings. Everything is silent with me. I'm doing a lot of things internally. So I need to keep my voice quiet for me. So when I communicate with a person to do a healing, it's over email or it's over phone for a consult only. The actual work is basically no contact, essentially. It's almost, you could say it's a conscious to conscious, subconscious type of healing. So yeah, I can scan your dog or pet, tell them exactly which individual chakras are not spinning correctly, and then balance all 7. And the animals react faster than humans. So you're going to see a difference. Also want to state that I am certified in integrated energy therapy. This is the only energy healing modality I was professionally trained in. Both are equally strong. The chakra balance is my own creation, call it. I mean, it came through me. I didn't go to a professional thing to get trained by it. It just came through me. Integrated energy therapy is very different than a chakra balance. They're night and day difference. They complement each other, but they are night and day difference. For people out there that have gone through extreme traumatic, emotional traumatic events in their lifetime, and we're talking the really ugly stuff that nobody ever wants to talk about. If you've been abducted by extraterrestrials or human beings, however you want to call it, this would be for you. If you have been struggling keeping a secret your entire life, regardless of what your activity is, if you've had trouble holding a secret and it's affected you in many ways, this is for you. Anybody who has had sexual or personal crimes committed against them, this is for you. However, is going toward something along the lines of if you are having battles with doctors, medical physicians, you're unable to get results, symptoms are not getting resolved, medical symptoms. Essentially, these memories that you had, and this can go all the way back to childbirth, it can actually go pre-life or past life. Jonah, hold on.
Sure. And
Sorry.
also, no problem. Also, Daniel, as you're talking about this, for people and listeners out there that don't know, like, again, what chakras are and energies and things like that you mentioned, Google them, write them down, check them out, do your own homework, like I always say. We want people to really understand this stuff. So please continue, Daniel.
Oh, sure. So medical symptoms that you have. So what are these symptoms? Let's call it medical mysteries. You know who you are. If you are a person, male or female, if you have digestion and bowel problems, or if you have chronic body pain. I mean chronic as in it's been there your whole life, you don't know why, narcs and painkillers don't really help it, and the doctors don't know either. Also, here's a big one, which I'm trying to get out to a lot of our vets. PTSD symptoms. If you have this, you know this. If you're not getting any solutions or help, contact me. IET can work with you on this. Have had a lot of good success with this. Essentially, integrated energy therapy is an energy healing to release the emotional blocks that are created from that bad traumatic event that hinder or create the physical manifestation. I do not do any type of physical work. So I don't treat, I'm not a medical doctor, I do not treat your medical symptom. The only thing I can do is release the emotional blocks. Over time, and this could be weeks to months, your body can naturally heal because there is nothing in the middle preventing this, if everyone understands this. And that is IET in a nutshell.
And Daniel, so we have about 15 minutes left. So
Okay.
I wanted to jump into something that's we talked about before, which is your communication, like as a medium with other ET beings, extraterrestrials on higher planes of existence. And you've been getting messages and you've been talking. And I want you to go into a little bit of that. We have about 15 minutes left. Tell us, if you can, quickly, how that first began. And what is your relationship with the person or entity, I should say, that you spoke with me from Janiqua, the Blue Octorian?
Right. So I can't really remember how it started. During the course of all these awakenings, trainings, call it, I started to get sensation that, I don't know how far back, that I wasn't by myself. And these started with, it would probably be around the 2009-10 time frame. I started to realize that I couldn't talk to these things, but I was somehow sensing that they were in the room with me, and I was picking up heat sources, or what I would consider energy sources. But it came across as heat to me. But when I say heat, we're not talking something that you can touch on your skin. It's etherical. It's something that my aura was able to sense. But it gave me it felt like heat to me. So I would, when I was taking a psychic development course, I learned how to use a pendulum. And I've been working with this for years and years and years. 2008 was when I started this. And pendulums are not for everybody, because the ego, you can actually learn the hard way that ego can control the pendulum. And a pendulum is nothing more than a chain with a heavy weight at the bottom. So if you all know what a pendulum is, it's like a crystal rock at the bottom on a chain. And it swings. And you hold it from the top. And it takes time to learn how to use this, but it is effective for some people and for discovering things. So I learned how to communicate originally with a pendulum, with just simple, basic responses. And it's yes, no, I don't know, and maybe. And it swings all different directions to represent that symbol. Still out there?
Yes, Daniel, we had a little interruption. Please continue.
Hearing nothing but static.
No, we are connected.
Yep, I'm hearing all the background noise and static.
Okay, try now.
Okay, much better. Okay, sorry for that brief interruption. It's talking about communicating with the other side. Yep, using a pendulum, I was able to connect on basic level, which is fine by me for starting out. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. And I was actually able to communicate with a spirit. And the spirit was family related to my wife and I. And so from there, I learned over time, basically, the spirits are present and I can communicate on a basic level. And they were able to tell me about up-and-coming health problems with whoever was in direct connection with. That changed to more recent years. The spirit thing kind of faded, and another person stepped forward. Now, these are people I can't see with my eyes, but I was able to sense. Being an energy healer, I sense more than I see, but I don't know the difference anymore because it's almost the same to me. I sensed a being, or I sensed a person or a being, and they stepped forward. And what you have to understand, it's the same time I was meditating, I was actually meeting beings. And more recently this year, I met what I would consider, he described himself, and I saw him with my meditation eyes, a blue Arcturian. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he introduced himself, a very, very well put together person, mentally. And nothing erratic, nothing to bring any fear to me. He introduced himself as, his name was Janiqua, and very well spoken. He had an accent, which I can't really place, but he had a message for me when he came to me this May. In May, I started to get a lot of messages. And I went on air on a couple other programs and talked about them, but I just wanted to relay 2 messages today. This was also in May, one of these messages, but it resembled the prior 2, and I just want to go ahead and read them because there was a message for Starseeds within, and also people of Earth. So I'm just going to read this, and as it came to me, I want to say this wasn't with the pendulum. I have a friend who's a professional medium. She actually taught me how to open up my aura ear this year, at the beginning of this year. And it's night and day difference. I don't need a pendulum anymore. They just talk as if they are leaning into your ear. They speak directly into my ear. And I can go forward and backwards. And it's like talking to a real person. So if I don't catch what he says, I just simply, can you state that, please? And he does. So that's how this message kind of came about. So on May 21st, 2015, this is the message. It says, to the people of Earth, I am Janiqua. You have 58 days to set your intention. I'll go through the intention in a moment. Please remember who you are and why you are here. The hour is approaching quickly. The great visual expression is upon us. Remembrance of your genetic code will complete your activation. And we're talking about an event coming quickly. And I'll be honest, we're in the month of the event that this being is predicted. Now, what I had said on prior shows is I do not do prediction work. I refuse to do it because of my own personal reasons. However, being a medium, I have no problem relaying a message. This message just happens to be for the planet, but it is still a message. The intention that each person needs to set for themselves. This is not setting for the world. In my opinion, you can only control what's in your own personal space. So this is what you would state or say either internally in your mind or aloud. My intention is for peace, growth, prosperity, love, and life. And I was given a calculation, and I don't want to go into the math part of it. 58 days in Arcturian time is actually 87 days on Earth-based time. From May 21st, 2015, 87 days later is August 16th. That's less than 2 weeks away. And I want to review the second message. Well, the other message that actually came in on July 30th. So just not that long ago. This is the message, and this was an update. This is also from the same being, Janiqua. To all starseeds, we are approaching the time of ascendance. Please continue with all efforts with the intention of peace, growth, prosperity, love, and life. Do not be afraid. A great change is upon us. The great visual expression will be visible in 13 days. 13 days doing the calculation works out to approximately August 17th this month. And what I need to let people know is it doesn't give a time zone. So I don't have any idea if that is August 17th in the United States or Australia, which is a 17-hour difference. So when I tell people don't harp on the actual date, just be aware that week. It doesn't really matter. And if nothing happens, nothing happens, and this is what I tell people. It's just a message, and there's variables and all that. The funny thing is I've received multiple messages from other beings as well that are all talking about this time frame. And I think it's amazing. So if something happens, terrific. If nothing happens, my work and my healings, everything still goes on as normal.
And Daniel, I just want to say I respect that so much because over the years since I've awakened, 2010, we had Nibiru was supposed to come around. In 2011, this was supposed to happen. In 2012 was the end of the Mayan calendar, and people have always given dates. But what you said is so important. Timelines change, things change, and you're relaying this message just to be open and aware. It could just be a solar flare that the whole world sees, or it could just be something very simple the whole world sees. But just that you're in a stance and you're grounded to say, hey, if it happens, it happens. I'm relaying a message. That is the best way to relay this type of information. We want people, again, to, go within. What resonates with you? How does this feel to you? Thank you, for being, that grounded, because a lot of times I have guests on, they're like, this is going to happen or around this date, and things don't. And you're saying that it may or may not happen. If it does, great. If it's not, hey, I'm still here. I can still help heal you. Contact me. And same thing with me. We're still pushing forward the radio show no matter what happens. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, what I would like to share, because we have a couple more minutes, going back to the original message that happened in the beginning of May, that is basically the same as the message I had stated. Before I went on the first radio program, I was extremely hesitant about doing anything because I didn't want this to look like it's my prediction, so I actually refused to do it. These beings kept coming in every week or so, and they kept trying to get my attention, and then they had gotten my attention, but I just didn't want to go forward with this. And there was a movie that came out, I believe it was in May, called Tomorrowland. And I didn't want to see it because it just didn't... I'm picky about the movies I see, and I do love sci-fi, but the commercials didn't do it for me. And a lot of people that I know had told me to go see it. There's a hidden message in there, but they wanted me to see it to see what I psychically sensed. And I said, I don't know about this. And then I belong to a couple of private groups, and one person in the group is a very high-level scientist, and he actually saw the movie and told me to go see it in not so many words. And with that, I said, okay, maybe something's happening. So I actually went and saw this movie, didn't like it, knew that was going to happen, but then I got floored from one scene. And it's not what I saw, it's what I heard. In my original message back in May, they had given us the time frame of 58 days, Arcturian time. In the movie, it's a doom and gloom type of a situation for Tomorrowland, and they stated something regarding 58 days in the movie, and to an event leading up to this, whatever it was. And that really threw me. That jarred me, and I said, well, that's a confirmation message right there, because I'd come up with the 58. It says the 58. Something's going on here. And that's what actually triggered me to seek out a person that could get me on air to talk about this stuff. So
a big synchronicity.
Yeah.
And that's what people really need to pay attention to. We say that everyone has the power law of attraction, and we're in this quantum field of existence. So your message and what you just brought from the higher beings is they're here, they're around us. This is our message. Be aware. All the ancients knew about the ETs. This is no big news. But you're bringing the message forth because you're asked to, very simply. And if things happen, things happen. But to be aware, and what you said, to be in your heart space and to really be grounded right now, and just stay positive, because throughout all the wars and all the things that are going on, it's really our positivity and our inner self that reflects on the outer world. So it's so important. We have a few minutes left, so I just want to give out your information, Daniel. Your website is Vega Star Healings, correct? And how else can people contact you?
That would be the best way to do it. It's easy because phone numbers and emails are all in there. Vega Star Healings with an S, so it's plural.com. And if you send me, there's a contact page, and review the information online if you see fit. And send me a contact or an email, and either we'll do this over the phone or an email and discuss your expectations and go from there.
And again, this is for people that have PTSD, that have experienced traumatic stuff through their lifetime. It's a energy blockage, and this is Daniel's specialty. So as I always say, to see it is to believe it, and to touch it is to feel it, to believe it. So, try to experience this. Be open to it. It's people that are open to things are the ones that we're reaching out to. We're reaching out to the people that are listening to the show out there that are like, hey, let me give this a try. And you will see just by opening up how your entire world could change literally overnight, like as I did. As soon as I opened up to the possibilities of these energies and ETs and things like that, I've had dozens, if not hundreds of experiences in the last 6 or 7 years since I've awakened to all different types of energies and spirits and ET contact and UFOs, and it's just been unbelievable. And as we continue to go, it gets even better and better. So thank you, Daniel, so much for coming on the show, and we definitely will have you back on soon, and maybe we'll have you back sometime early September. We'll see if an event happens or not, if we still are on the airwaves or if a solar flare hits. But check out VedaStarHealings.com and contact Daniel for some amazing healing. So Daniel, thank you so much for coming on.
That was my pleasure. Thank you.
Excellent. Check out StarseedRadio.com for the latest news and updates, or Truth Frequency Radio for our archives, or call toll-free 888-400-2328 for our free energy information or a free piece of Shungite. You're listening to Starseed Radio.
They call me Marvin like the Martian, 'cause I come from Mars.